up America. Half of you should know me, right? Other half a replica.
$84.5 kilos. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to today's video. It's 11th of April. I've just woken up, so I'm pretty much just going to get my breakfast in. I did hit a new low weigh-in today, 84.6. This is the lowest I've probably ever been in a while. It's a good feeling, definitely, to see that all the effort that I'm putting in during this summer shredding is actually working, which is making it all that much more worth it. For breakfast, I'm having some oats, 40 grams of Rule 1 protein. I'll put the macros on them on the side just so you guys can know and understand what I'm eating in the morning. Today's not going to be that busy of a day. I'm pretty much just going to head off to the gym after this, have the breakfast, let it settle a little bit, and then get going, just so when I'm filming there it's not too busy, as like I train by myself, so I got to set up a tripod, which is kind of annoying. Shout out if anyone wants to come film me and come train with me, more than welcome. Also, thanks to everyone that's gave positive reviews on my very first video. I know the quality wasn't probably the best, but it was my first video and it's pretty much just there just to get the ball rolling. So I appreciate the positivity. Keep it up, pretty much. Next clips will be all gym related, and if anything comes up after that, I'll film that as well. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to today's commentary. I got a back and bicep workout in. For my first movement for back, I like to do all my back movements and then my biceps. My first back movement was a Romanian deadlift. I did 5 sets, 8 to 12 reps, increasing the weight each set. The way I set up for a Romanian deadlift is to have the safety guards, I think they're called, the notch below, just below knee height. So I'm still getting a little bit bent over. The way I set up for it for the lift is I like to have a neutral back with my shoulders slightly retracted, and keeping them retracted all the way up through the lift, just so I'm not rounding my back and causing myself to get hurt or anything along those lines. I always like to start my back workouts with a deadlift of some sort, whether it's Romanians or full conventional deadlifts. My second movement for back was a T-bar row machine with the close neutral grip. This is good for hitting the upper middle part of your back, if that makes sense. With my form for this, to get my mind muscle connection with going, is to imagine that I have something in between my shoulder blades and I'm trying to pinch it throughout the whole movement, even more so on the way up than I am on the way down, but I'm making sure that it's always tension on that part of my back throughout the whole movement. I like to stay horizontal over the weight where my chest is. If I'm standing more up straight, it's going to activate more of my lats than the middle of my back, which for this movement and for my workout that I've done today is not something that I want to do with a T-bar row. My third movement for back was a lat pull down. This is the width portion of my back workout. I like to keep my arms about shoulder width apart, and all the way down I'm contracting, and I'm not locking out on the way up. So I'm making sure that I've always got tension on my lats. On my later reps, on my last set, I've locked out a little bit just to give that little bit of rest, as I was getting really tired at nearing the end of my back workout. Form wise, as I said, my arms are about shoulder width apart and I have my thumbs over the top of the bar so my biceps aren't activated and I'm not pulling the bar down with my biceps instead of my lats, which would defeat the purpose of a lat pull down. I'm also not flinging all the way back. You see the people in the gym going all the way back just to make sure that I can get the weight up. I like to stay upright as much as I can throughout the whole movement, just to make sure that I'm activating my lats and not trying to ego lift and lift as much weight as possible. My fourth and last movement for back was a seated row, but I kept it to single arms as it was to work on a little bit more thickness. I'd usually do this with a cable row, but for you guys, I wanted to keep it a little bit more interesting and not the same as everyone else. So I decided to use this hammer strength machine. Same again, I kept it for 5 sets, 8 to 12 reps. I'm really making sure I'm thinking about pulling one side over the other. This will actually help a lot more than if you're doing a row and you're just thinking about moving the weight. As I finished off that back workout, I then moved on to my bicep portion of the workout. It was more of a pump and a burnout in this bicep workout than anything else. I started off with preacher curls to work the long head of my bicep. I did 4 sets of 10 reps each time, and making sure that I squeezed my bicep as hard as I could on the way up and not locking all the way out on the way down, just to keep tension on the bicep throughout that whole movement. And after the preacher curl that I did on the machine, I then moved on to hammer curl, a seated hammer curl. I like to do my hammer curls seated as it really restricts the amount of movement that you can and momentum that you can use to get that weight up. So when I'm sitting down doing a hammer curl, I'm making sure my elbows are kept as close to my side as possible, and all I'm moving is literally that weight is moving up. I'm not swinging, I'm not using my body just to make sure I get that weight up. I'm not ego lifting whatsoever. I'm always making sure that I have that mind muscle connection happening on every single movement that I do, even more so on my biceps. And you should too if you want your biceps to grow. And to finish off this workout, I finished with incline dumbbell curls. I curled at the exact same time with both arms instead of doing it alternating, which most people might do. Just as I feel like if I do alternating, then alternating, it's really not burning me out, or I'm not really feeling that good of a pump. So this is why I use both arms at the same time. Try to keep your head on the bench as much as possible, as you honestly will feel it differently in your biceps than if you're looking forward, as it doesn't really give your long head in your bicep as much time to stretch out and contract. And with that little bit of information, that's going to conclude my commentary for today. If honestly, guys, if you liked it or you didn't like it, just leave in a comment. I'll take all criticism on board. If you want me to talk about something specifically, leave that in a comment as well, and I'll try to get a video out for that as soon as possible. Honestly, guys, I can't thank everyone enough for the support already.